Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today what I have for you guys is a brand new GTA Online video, and in this video we're going to be discussing just some problems that GTA Online has heading into 2025. I'm not trying to make this a super negative rant video or anything like that, but this is going to be a discussion-based video. One of the things I should tell you is I am in the process of moving, so I am just getting this video out. It's something simple for us to just have a chat, catch up, have a discussion about one of our favorite games, that being GTA Online, as we head into 2025 with new DLC updates, players' expectations, the reality of what we're going to actually be getting, because I don't think we're going to get any like game-changing missions, content, businesses, DLCs, or anything like that. This game is clearly in maintenance mode, and so we're going to discuss that in more detail. But like I said, discussion-based video, want to come out with this just so we have some content starting the week. So hopefully you guys all had a great weekend, and with that being said, let's jump in. So jumping in, I think obviously the most important thing to mention, I mean, anyone who would discuss this would probably mention this right at the start, is that Rockstar's time and resources when it comes to them being developers, obviously they're going into GTA 6. GTA Online updates naturally are going to be smaller. We've been seeing that ever since the contract update released, actually, so that's not necessarily like, you know, a new discovery, a new realization, nothing like that. But it's just the reality of GTA Online in its current form. Rockstar is going full steam ahead with GTA 6, and honestly, while we had evidence of GTA Online, you know, with the developers starting to reel back support for this game, not in the sense that they're stopping support, but just they're not coming out with Cayo Perico or contract-style DLCs anymore. We're getting Criminal Enterprises, San Andreas Mercenaries, LS Drug Wars, things like that. It just comes down to the fact that we also saw this with Red Dead Online as well, and I think Red Dead Online, it was a little bit more obvious from the get-go just because it's a smaller game, it's not GTA, things like that. And so us players for Red Dead Online also saw support start to get dialed back, and we thought, you know, maybe it was just obviously the case for Red Dead Online, but we've kind of seen the same thing happen with GTA just because, of course, Rockstar is going to be focused on building out their next game. Obviously, the story mode going to be the biggest entertainment product launch of all time, but same thing with the multiplayer. You know, they're going to want to keep this basically the current game for them for probably another 5 or 10 years at the very least. Now that clearly is stating the obvious. Right now I'm just waiting for this guy to come out of the motel so I can shoot the engine block of his tornado and blow him up so I can get my $90,000 for the double money payphone hit. But while we have a minute and a half until checkout and probably another minute before he walks and gets into his car, I'll touch on the next point, which is obviously, you know, if you're still playing this game, you've adapted to that idea. Maybe some of you guys are frustrated that we're getting smaller DLCs, but we've been getting them for so long at this point that that's just, you know, how you can consider GTA Online. Rockstar's releasing a lot of nice quality of life updates for this game, albeit I would say 10 years late, but that's kind of like the style of what we're getting in the DLCs. They're not changing up the mission formula, nothing like that. And to be honest, for the rest of this game's life cycle, I don't even think I'd want to see that. I think I just want to see them kind of go full force with GTA 6. That way we could start getting some new mission styles, things like that. You know, GTA Online, Red Dead Online has always been known for driving or galloping on horseback from point A to point B, taking a bag, killing a bunch of people, stealing something, and bringing it back. That's just how these games are, and they are really fun because of that. But obviously in the next game, we need to see some new styles of content, new mission structures, Rockstar take more risks, things like that, which they're just not going to do at this point in the game's life cycle. But if you've adapted to that at this point, then you could still have fun, of course, driving around on land vehicles, you know, not just using the Oppressor Mark II and playing Cayo Perico is a good way to enjoy the game because you can actually play other sorts of content instead of just getting locked into the meta money grinding method, and I think the game is a lot more entertaining that way. Okay, here's the target. We can finally get this mission going here. But this kind of brings me to my next point here of like players' expectations versus the reality of the situation for GTA Online in 2023. And that's, I think, the fact that a lot of players will probably never be happy. You know, no matter what Rockstar does, people will complain. I'm not addressing this or calling anyone out specifically, but you'll just see player complaints on Reddit, on YouTube, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, no matter what, right? And it's all dependent on the player, on the things they enjoy and don't enjoy. Rockstar can't make everyone happy 100% of the time. But what they can do is obviously put effort and work into the game so that players can actually enjoy the content they're playing. And if players aren't feeling like, you know, they're getting the value out of GTA Online, then they're going to stop playing. And that's also the reality that Rockstar has to face for the player base as well. When it comes to these DLCs, ultimately, updates are fun for a few weeks. We all know that. Then the hype dies. People wait for the next one, and that just is how it is. I'm going to actually go after this exotic exports vehicle before I do a security contract. Might as well. That's another thing we've seen with this game now. I'd say, honestly, for the past maybe like 6 or 7 years, ever since maybe the nightclub DLC came out, when Rockstar kind of switched from going from like multiple content updates a year, like the stretch of 2016 and 2017 for GTA Online, when we got further adventures in finance and felony, then we got bikers, then we got gun running, we got smugglers run in 2017. Like, that was just an awesome stretch for the game with lots of different businesses to enjoy. Oh, also import export in between in December of 2016. That was a great update, of course. I still do the specialist dealer vehicle deliveries every now and again too, because it's just an easy 100K. But all of this leads to the fact that, you know, these updates don't have the longevity that they do anymore because they're smaller in scope, smaller in size, things like that. And players take advantage of everything on day one, and that's not necessarily their fault, actually. That's 100% Rockstar's fault, which is, it's kind of frustrating the way, in my opinion, the way they handle some DLCs. Because some players want everything on day one, and they don't like how Rockstar's splitting up the DLCs. Like, for example, with the Los Santos Drug Wars update, we got first dose in December of 2022, but then we got last dose in March of 2022. Then for 2023 with the Chop Shop DLC, we got everything, you know, in December, and then Rockstar also split the Cluckenbell Farm right into March. I like that because that means we're getting, like, you know, a spring, sort of a smaller spring update that's tied to the winter DLC. It's not its own separate title update because all the content was added to the game with the winter DLC, but it is technically its own separate DLC, its own separate content release. Rockstar markets it as that too. It's just we don't get a title update where the version of the game changes because it was all added with the winter DLC. But that's what we got last year. And then this year, for 2025, what we're going to be getting is the Oscar Guzman Flies Again missions, along with the side content for that. You have like the 5 main questline missions. Then you have basically, I guess they're similar to, you know, like police dispatch work. They're not actually police dispatch work, but I think they're missions that are on 5-minute cooldown. You do them for Oscar Guzman at the Mackenzie Airfield business, and you just basically drive around the map and blow up vehicles and destroy cargo and stuff like that. So it's like, if the Oscar Guzman Flies Again missions are the main storyline content, then that would be basically the side content, the supporting content, right? I'm going to switch invite-only sessions, go back to my agency as we continue to talk about this, because I'm going to do a security contract next. See if we can get like a vehicle recovery or recover valuables mission or something like that. But ultimately what we're getting is these updates come out and Rockstar releases a lot of content day one. I wish they would continue to drip feed further. I kind of wish the day one release of a DLC would be a little bit smaller in scope and we get more content continuing, because as we're seeing right now, we wait, you know, a whole 6 months for a new content update. Players rip through all the content the first day and then they say that they're bored because they played all the missions and stuff like that. And so it would be better if it's spaced out, even if we're getting these smaller updates. That's just my opinion. You can agree or disagree. That's totally fine. But then I think the other problem that players have is that Rockstar's monetizing this game now more than ever. Some of the best content is going to be, you know, the most expensive, the Titan 250D is ultra expensive, the DH7 Iron Mule. We've always had expensive vehicles in this game and they're only getting more and more expensive. But with these updates becoming smaller and smaller, Rockstar's trying to make up the difference and super inflate and overprice the items that are released with the DLC. You know, in previous DLCs, we got maybe, what, 25, 30 cars that would release sometimes? Or, yeah, I guess 30 is pretty extreme, but like, what, 25 cars, some DLCs, we'd have drip feed for months, and we'd get a car every single week with the weekly update. But now, we only have, you know, call it 6 vehicles that are supposed to last half a year, and of course we have the Humane Labs raid. Of course, I'm taking my Sparrow over. I'm not doing this. I was hoping we wouldn't get the Humane Labs vehicle recovery, but I saw Specialist Plus and I thought in the back of my head we may get this one, and it turns out we are. So yeah, we would have like a bunch of drip feed vehicles that would last, well, not the whole drip feed, but it would last maybe half to 2/3 of the drip feed, and then we'd have like a month of drought with basically no content because Rockstar exhausted all the content in their pipeline. But now they just spread out such a minuscule amount of content. They spread out like a month's worth of drip feed content for half the year, and that's just too little at this point. I mean, at the same time, it makes sense when all their resources are put into GTA 6. Obviously, that's their upcoming game. This game is more in maintenance mode, but that still makes it a problem for the player base because we've come accustomed to, you know, over a decade worth of consistent content in this game, and now they're dialing it back. So, you know, what can you do in the meantime? I think focusing on like community-driven content is a good idea. If you don't have any friends that you've played GTA Online with so far, maybe try and get those friends involved, see if they want to boot up their old console and play some heists with you. Like playing with bad GTA players for heists of like friends that you know, that could be pretty fun. Or, you know, do some car meets, role play on a session, or, you know, just come up with some player-made challenges that you could try out. Like, I think that could all be really fun. Wanted to destroy that signal jammer right there. I gotta do all that on this character. There's a lot of those collectibles I gotta catch up on. But now we have to talk about, this is probably the other thing that ties into not necessarily just GTA Online, but this ties into GTA 6 as well. What's gonna happen to GTA Online when GTA 6 comes out? Well, obviously the servers are still gonna be active and all that, but of course, we're probably not gonna see any major DLCs. I think whatever, like, say if GTA 6 does come out this fall, I know, I mean, the current release date or release time frame is still 2025 officially. I think ultimately it still may get pushed back into 2026. I hope not, but if it does, or if it doesn't, and say if it does release in the fall 2025, then the summer DLC is probably gonna be the last GTA DLC we ever see. I don't think we'll get a winter one when GTA 6 is out. Rockstar is full force, full steam ahead on making content for GTA 6 right now, finishing the game, and then when it's out, they're gonna go full steam ahead with GTA 6 Online. A lot of, like, Red Dead Online players are hopeful that we would see, you know, new updates to Red Dead once Rockstar's done with GTA 6. I don't think that's going to be the case either. I think that's extreme copium right there. But I would like to be wrong, because Red Dead is lit, and I wish we were able to get some new content, like actual DLCs. I just don't believe that's going to be an actual thing. But either way, when GTA 6 is out, you know, GTA 5 Online, not going to die. They're not going to shut the servers down. There's still going to be a ton of people playing it. But obviously, I think most people's focus will be on GTA 6 because that's going to be the current game. There's always going to be a player base for an old GTA. It's just not going to be the current one, and that's totally fine. Now, that being said, what else about GTA 6 when it comes out? Because we've had, you know, it'll be like 12 years worth of content, at least, for GTA Online by the time GTA 6 is out. And players have been used to all this content. GTA 6 may feel very bare bones, and I think they're actually going to do a better job of kind of releasing content beforehand for it than they did with Red Dead Online, of course, GTA Online when it initially released. But with both games, I think GTA Online, they struck lightning in a bottle. They weren't expecting this game to catch like it did, and obviously it's cost, or not cost them, but it's made them so much money. Red Dead Online, they were trying to replicate that same thing. It had a decent launch, but content wasn't paying enough. Players got bored, things like that. And so Rockstar came out with like a community update newswire like a couple weeks after the game came out. And they're like, we're trying to take Red Dead in a whole new direction, etc., blah, blah, blah. It was like, it just showed me that they didn't really have a plan for that game. Like, they were coming out with a multiplayer because they knew it needed one. They made it separate from Red Dead Redemption 1 multiplayer, which was, you know, older Rockstar, more just like party game mode multiplayer. They wanted Red Dead to be, you know, sort of like a GTA Online, but in a totally different time period. It takes a lot of the same mission design and you know, all that type of stuff. The same gameplay loop, same grind mission structure, etc. The biggest problem, though, or my biggest fear is that they're going to do the same thing when GTA 6 comes out, and they're going to come out with a community update newswire after the game launches. You know, whether it's a buggy mess or not, that's not really my concern. It may be, it may not be, but my biggest concern, I think, will be them trying to announce to players that they're trying to take GTA in a totally new direction instead of already executing on that plan, like, initially, right? We don't want it to be a copy and paste of GTA Online and have players complain that it feels too similar, and then they need to rework their whole content strategy, you know, a month into the game coming out. I need them to have a solid plan in place, good content ideas, you know, have all that basically sorted, ready to go, so that obviously they need to build on it over time. They're not going to have all the content day one. I'm not expecting that, but I want them to have an idea of what they're going to do way before the game releases, which obviously, hopefully they do. But not only that, I want them to continuously execute on it from the very beginning, not have this type of thing where they spend the first year of the game finding its footing, figuring out what they need to add, things like that. Like, that should already be taken care of, ready to go at launch, and they should just hit the ground running. They didn't do that with GTA Online, and they didn't do that with Red Dead Online. But I am going on a tangent here, unrelated to the topic of the rest of the video. I just want to talk about one more thing, but let's take this back to the agency first. Oh man, we finally made it back. This took a while, but honestly, doing this Humane Labs security contract this time wasn't as tedious or annoying as I remember it being, because I've tried to avoid doing this one for months. Finally doing it again, and it actually wasn't too bad. I mean, it still took us like 12 minutes, but it was fine. I mean, it was worth it. You know, we're making a lot of money from it. Overall, I just wanted to come out with this video just to basically say that, you know, obviously a lot of players feel that GTA Online is dead. I don't think it's dead, but we are in a transitional phase, and I think the biggest thing is if you adjust your expectations for what we're going to be getting this year in GTA, not expecting anything massive with that Mackenzie Airfield business or even the summer DLC, things like that, I think you can still have a lot of fun in this game. Some of the things that I'm doing to have more fun, obviously, like I always recommend, if you are completely burned out on the game and you're just like mindlessly playing GTA Online just because it's what you've been doing for years or even months, take a break. The biggest thing you could do for your mental clarity with this game and sanity is just to take a break, because if you force yourself playing, you're gonna start to resent it. But if you take a break, you may come back in a week or two or even a month or even a couple months and want to play the game again. Like, I've been the biggest Warzone Resurgence addict ever since Rebirth Island was added. I mean, I was a big Warzone addict from day one of Warzone, but Resurgence and Rebirth Island has been my true pleasure playing Warzone. But I haven't been playing since August because the state of the game sucks, but honestly I want to try again. I hear Black Ops 6 Warzone is obviously overrun with cheaters and modders and hackers, and it's just terrible. Treyarch's not doing anything to balance anything. They haven't adjusted any weapons to make them non-meta, things like that. But I'm excited to try again because it's been almost half a year since I played, so it's time for me to go back and play some Warzone. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching today's video. The other thing you guys can do is obviously just, you know, drive around. I'm taking this Fister Comet Retro Custom to do the payphone hit. I could fly there on my Sparrow or Oppressor and get this mission done way faster, but part of the fun of GTA Online is driving your sports cars, driving your supercars, SUVs, trucks, you name it, and play the game that way. You'll be slower at making money, but of course, you'll probably have more fun. And compared to someone who's just full sending, grinding, Oppressor maxing, and Cayo Perico and Dr. Dre contract maxing, they may quit the game earlier than you. And if you're just playing like this, you have the longevity to your advantage because you'll be sticking at it, chipping away at your money grinding goals. And this, just driving around in cars that I want to drive, has made the game infinitely more fun in my opinion. This is something I've always recommended to players. You know, maybe sounds obvious, but a lot of players don't think about it. They just like brainlessly hop on their broomstick and wonder why the game gets boring. Try driving around in some land vehicles and see what you think. But with that being said, we're going to wrap things up right here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, like I said at the beginning of today's video, I am actually moving, so I want to come out with a more discussion-based video in the meantime, just so there's some content and you don't see, or you end up just like not seeing a video from me for a day. Figured I'd get this out the door to at least provide you guys with a little bit of stuff before I start packing up my setup and moving it into the new place. Super excited to come out with like a gaming setup and new office tour and things like that. So let me know in the comments if you want to see that. But again, thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Make sure to check me out over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram if you want to see more GTA Online, Red Dead Online, and Rockstar Games content outside of YouTube. Hopefully you all have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios, amigos.